Hello, and welcome to round 2 of the Parenting Roundabout podcast. I'm Terri Morrow, and I'm here with Catherine Haleko. Say hi, Catherine.
Hi.
Usually on this podcast, we talk about parenting issues, but once a week, Catherine and I like to get together to discuss TV, movies, books, podcasts, and other entertainment topics, because it's nice to talk about something other than parenting for a change. This week, we are finally going to discuss the first episode of West Wing Season 4, 20 Hours in America, Part 1. And then we're going to get some more of guest star Amy Adams with the 2005 movie Junebug. But first, it was Disney night on Dancing with the Stars. Are you feeling all sorts of enchanted, Catherine?
It's magical.
Yes.
As we like to say in our house when you leave in the morning, have a magical day.
Ah, do you? That's adorable. Well, Sasha didn't have such a magical day because, spoiler alert, she's the one who wound up going home. Not such a spoiler, really, because I figured she was pretty much next. And especially when it was her and Frankie in the bottom two, I was pretty sure her time had come. She looked like she knew, well, that's it. I'm going home.
Yeah.
And poor baby, having to go home on a night when you are saddled with the enormous imitation Sharna wig is really... kind of sad.
That is unfortunate.
They should have just let her take that off for the end.
Yeah, I don't. When they give them wigs, I don't know. It's too much.
It seems to not be good. I think they need to investigate alternatives to whoever they've employed or to whatever they're using or whatever their wig. Perhaps their wig budget is low.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's enough with the costumes. You don't need the wig on top of it.
Yes, I think we would have understood that they were doing The Little Mermaid even without.
Yes, I think it would have been pretty clear. And that applies to everyone,
It does. It does. Well, there was quite a bit of consternation in the chat room I was in as to what sort of dead animal Lindsey had on her head during her little rehearsal footage.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it looked cute, but it was definitely different.
Yes.
But she did not wear that on stage.
Yeah. So.
No hats. I thought for sure they were doing Pinocchio, that there would be a cute little hat for Mark, but no. They classed it up.
Oh, they did.
They just did a regular old dance in regular old ballroom clothes.
No.
Which for them is as dramatic a departure as anybody else wearing some fabulous costume.
Totally. Yes.
Opposite day.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I thought theirs was nice and pleasant.
It was very nice. Yes.
Same with the Snow White waltz. I was okay.
Yeah, I mean, I may be reading things in because there's been such drama and such gossip, but they don't seem to be getting along so well.
Yeah.
That was the second week where the package really had no conversation between
interaction
them other than in dwarf form. Mm-hmm. And I mean that package was all about him. Mm-hmm. Basically she stood there, was her job, while CGI goes on around her,
which I'm sure thrilled her.
Yeah, so she wasn't even really reacting to him then either.
Right.
And he pokes his head in at the end. Do we see them in the same shot? I don't think we do.
Probably not.
And
Alan's doing all the rehearsals. And
as he did that waltz, he had the look of a man who was punching a time clock.
Yeah.
I will come here. I will dance with her. I will go home.
That's how he is this whole season.
It's for really sad. Yeah. I don't have that huge a body of experience with him because I think he had sort of left the show by the time I started. But you should, if there's any way you can find someplace, I'm sure it's someplace. The season he did with Meryl Davis he was adorable, and they had such a nice chemistry between them. They had this stupid showmance, which was really obvious, and I think she was even giggling as she was doing it because it's oh, nobody's gonna believe this,
right?
But they gamely did their part with it. Mm-hmm. And they were really, really cute together, and he was fully engaged, and he was very creative, and the dancing was great, and the packages were great. And some of these ones more recently have just been painful. If you don't want to do the show, don't do the show, man. Find something else to do. Your wife's there bringing home the bacon. You can go find something else to do. But seriously, it's not fair to the star.
Right.
Or the viewer, Gads. I mean, maybe she's really awful, but this is your job,
Yeah.
Suck it up. We all have to do awful things sometimes. It's just getting more and more awkward, I think. Possibly I'm reading stuff into it, but he seemed really just he
so
woke up
telling.
Snow White and then he walked her back to she laid back down again at the end. Go back to sleep. I'm tired of you.
Yeah, I mean,
that was unfortunate.
What you point out with the packages, the way that they're very carefully filming them for the least possible amount of interaction is quite telling, I would think.
It is. I mean, how long are they going to be able to go on with it? If they get eliminated, he claps his hands. That's going to look really bad.
Fist pump. Oops. Pretend you didn't see that.
That's probably wrong. Oh well. That was a nice, extremely slow waltz that they did.
Yeah.
The slow waltz of awkwardness.
Right. of mutual dislike.
And Snow White says, "You're nice and all, but
I'll just go back to sleep.
I can see who else comes along.
Right.
You can go.
I'll hang with my dwarf pals. That's fine."
Ay. So, what else did we have that stuck out to us?
Well, of course, Jordan doing his Moana song.
Yes.
Complete with the Lin-Manuel rap.
Yeah, I was excited that they did a little bit of dance into that.
Yeah.
They cut it off. This is the problem, is that they have to cut these songs up, I guess, for time, and so that the movement is correct. So if you know the song, it's like, wait, what? That doesn't even rhyme. What the? Yeah, the Rainbow Connection was, pretty much hacked to bits. And
so I'm used to that from skating.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah,
that happens frequently, and some coaches and some team. I see it in individual and synchro, and sometimes it's terrible. It can really, if it's a medley and it's cut poorly, it just it's painful. So I appreciate it when it's done well.
Some of these were okay. Some of them, not so much. But but I enjoyed their dance as always, and thought it was very good and had lots of content. And he's just a good dancer, Yeah. And eventually that may count against him in this competition, but it's nice to watch.
Right. I mean, he's just so polished, and
he is. Yeah. He's pretty good at not seeming full of himself, which is maybe a problem that young people who are good at dancing
have on the show.
From the Disney machine have. They're all poised. Maybe they're just a little bit cocky. I don't know.
Right.
He's not. He does pretty good with that, but he's got other stuff going on. I've been looking at his Twitter feed, and it's all about his new song and his new video, and just a little bit of Dancing with the Stars on Mondays. So, he's not going to be crying if he doesn't get the mirror ball. But it's giving him some nice publicity. And the same with Lindsey. I think she has a new album coming out, and that's mostly what her social media is about. So, it's great exposure for them.
Yeah.
But if Frankie comes zooming in on the "I just too adorable to resist" express, I don't think either of them is going to lose sleep.
Yes, he was adorable once again. I mean, he wasn't supposed to be adorable on this week.
No,
he was supposed to be, a swaggering pirate, but he did good.
He did an adorable job of swaggering.
Yeah,
aside from the fact that he's adorable, and I really like him, and I like his attitude, and I like that he is just so into this show and really excited to be there. I like who Whitney is with him. Mm-hmm. She's been sort of the stupid punkish girl, not punk rock, but punk, making jokes and being rude and stuff like that with a lot of her past partners. And she's like a grown-up with him, and I really like that. It looks good on her, and she's doing good choreography for him, and she seems to be taking really good care of him. That's a good look for her. They should do that more.
Yeah, it's a good pairing, definitely.
Yeah, it really is. I really like it. So I still think at this point I'm still rooting most for Jordan, but I understand that might not happen just because he's really good and he probably doesn't have as much of a fan base as some other people. Mm-hmm. I also am still rooting for Drew. I think Drew is trying real hard.
Yeah.
I don't think he can win because I don't think that Emma would win 2 in a row. Doesn't seem right. And he's not that good. But
well, he's like Frankie. He's super game, and he's trying real hard, and he's got the good attitude that makes him fun to watch and easy to root for.
Yes, if he keeps that, I'll be happy to see him for as long as he's there. I keep bracing myself 1 week somebody's going to have a tantrum or they're going to catch somebody saying something inappropriate that they can use in the packages, but it doesn't seem to be that kind of year. They haven't done that yet. And how can we be halfway through? There's still more than half of the field there, I guess, because they didn't eliminate that 1 week.
I guess, yeah.
Seems
there must be something coming up where they're going to have a double or something.
That all these people are there, but it just still seems like we're still at that part of the season where I'm going, oh yeah, I forgot about that person. They haven't gone yet.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So, I don't know. And what did you think of the dance at the end to the new song from the new show, which I will not be rushing out to see?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen trailers for that.
I've seen nothing at all.
Yeah, I've seen trailers and it looks fun. It looks like it could be really good. I thought the whole I'm getting into my Mexican roots was like, oh, okay, well, that's news to all of us. If it was a little bit strange that it was all of a sudden, guess what? I'm Mexican. That's
okay.
Handy. That's handy for this movie that we need to promote.
Yeah.
So
I only got them the last spot, so.
Yeah. It was fun to watch. It was fun. But I liked it when she was in the preview, Artem's all about the skirt. He wants to wear the skirt.
You get a lot of fun things you can do with that. I could see that.
Exactly. A lot of swishing and swooshing.
Yeah.
So
who have we not mentioned? Anybody else
Victoria.
Stand out? Victoria. That was cute.
That was cute and fun, yeah. I mean, they got the bad news of going first.
Yes.
But you did have Val in tights and shorts.
He was pretty cute. Yeah, I thought that
was fun.
And there was a couple there. We had the mists of jungle personnel.
Mm-hmm. Definitely, yes.
I think it was Terrell's that had everybody out there being a jungle creature. To draw focus or whatever.
Yeah.
And, did they have that in the Jungle Book one too? I think.
Not
Nick's.
As much though. That was Nick and Peeta. Yeah, not as much.
I just kept thinking of the one she did with Niall, which I thought was also Jungle Book, but it was Tarzan. I was reminded later. Yeah. But it's sort of the same. I don't think she could recycle anything because Nick's not as good of a dancer.
Yeah.
Those were some pants she had on anyway.
They were. They definitely gave off the furry vibe, didn't they?
I guess. A fringy bear.
Yes.
Well, I enjoyed watching it. That was another fun week. And the judges seem to be a little nicer than they were last season. I don't know if it's just that there's a larger body of not so good people that they don't want to be mean to or what, but maybe somebody said, you know what? You were really pretty mean to those girls at the end of last season. Right. Maybe you should calm down a little bit.
Just lighten up, please.
Yeah. The scores seem to be high, and the comments seem to all be positive.
They were.
Which
they
is,
really were.
Yeah, if they're not, they can be lightly constructive, but other than that, they should be positive. I started, at the end of last season, I started making a list of things they should do that they should change, and I never got it up or anything. But one of them was, what if the judges just gave the comments to the pro? And the star was like in a soundproof booth someplace. Because if the dance is bad, that's on the pro. And if the star is bad, that's also on the pro because they're supposed to be teaching them and also choreographing to their strengths.
To their strength, yeah.
So there's really no point in talking to the star. You should be telling them this is what you need to be doing differently in your choreography for them. This is what you need to be teaching them differently. And then there's not all that stress that either you're being mean to somebody or you're overly praising them.
Yeah.
And a lot of these times, we know the pros better than the stars at this point. So it's not like you're going to be getting rid of the most interesting person in the couple. You know, I would rather hear them talk to Sharna than whoever they've paired her up with.
Right.
So I wish I don't think that would ever happen, but I think that would improve the judging portion of the show considerably.
Yeah, that's interesting.
It would be meaningful. And also, I also think that they should do the eliminations. If they can't get a second night from ABC, they should do it in video form online the next day. Get the votes from that night, tabulate them, and then have a 10-minute Facebook video where you do it. And then you can recap it the following week. You can show it at the beginning of the show or whatever.
Right.
But,
so that you understand as you're voting where your voting is.
Exactly. And
going.
Also so that you're not giving people a 30-second bum's rush. It's like you're the last person to give a speech at the Academy Awards now. You know? It's like the orchestra is playing you off. So, you know, it's not fair. They used to, way back in the day when the show was way more popular and they got a second night, they would have a results night every week. And then the couple who was eliminated would get to do a final dance. And they would get to say things and people would, you know, say nice things about them and stuff. And now it's like, oops, what? Almost time.
Yeah.
Go.
Bye. Hit the road.
I wish they could do that. They would build up their social media presence and people would watch it. And if they didn't watch it, they could still find out. It's not like they would lose a dramatic part of their show because they're not doing anything with it.
Right. They're spending all of 2 minutes on that.
Yeah.
And half of that is the dramatic pause.
Exactly. So I don't think you lose anything from the show. And it would, I think it's weird that you're eliminating people from the previous week's votes. And I think it would solve a lot of problems. But they won't do that either. But that's what I'd like to see.
They will not listen to you.
If only they would listen to me.
Like they should.
Well, next week, do we know what next week is? Shania Twain as Judge week. Oh, movies?
Yeah, and Shania Twain somehow. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's Shania Twain because it's Country Music Awards week, I guess. And also she has something coming out, I heard. But is it like dances? It must be dances from the movies, right? Another iconic dances from the movies thing, which
something
has
like that.
Worked out so not well in the past.
Or maybe it's just music from movies and it doesn't have to go with a specific dance, you know?
Yes, that could be. Let's hope. That would be better.
That is easier to pull off.
And then I'm sure we have a Halloween episode coming on after that, sadly.
Yep.
Yikes. Well, moving on from Disney to DC, well, no, to cornfields in Indiana, which were really Pennsylvania. Just that time zone thing, I've heard of that before. That's not anywhere near you, that stuff just kind of changes in the middle of the state, is it?
No, it's in Indiana.
Just in Indiana?
I think. In Arizona, I feel like
is there another place that does that?
Yes. Yeah. I think Arizona has some sort of, you know, where part of this, I think what it is in Indiana is like part of the state does it and part of the state doesn't. So part of the year they're in sync and part of the year they're not.
I share Toby's frustration to the point of hitting something with that whole concept.
Right.
People change their watches when they commute.
Right, or just like wear 2 watches all the time or something.
That whole scene was pretty delightful.
Yes.
Where you know, we never give a summary of the episode. We're just assuming people know what. But basically, Toby and Josh and Donna have missed the motorcade after a speech in Indiana, and they spend, really, spoiler alert, the 2 halves of the opening, the 2 first episodes of the show trying to get back to Washington. And in this particular scene, this high school aged volunteer is driving them to what they hope will be the plane, but of course the plane has already left because they don't realize the time zones. But the kid stops on the way there to go beg his ex-girlfriend to pay attention to him.
Right, to take him back.
And you just, that was a great performance by that. You just, you suddenly feel like he's gone from just being this volunteer to a kid that you recognize.
Yes.
That life goes on beyond politics, guys.
Right.
Take a look.
And the girls are they could care less that these are, these people work at the White House. Yes. They're just way too cool for
way
any
too
of
cool.
it.
Mean girls. I like the way Donna just kind of goes up to try to talk to them like, okay, excuse me, but
right.
Yeah,
just let them.
She's not terribly fazed, but that was cute. That was cute, and I really enjoyed the interview with him. The actor who played that kid who has gone on to be in another Aaron Sorkin project. That was hilarious. That Sorkin had no idea it was him.
Right. Yes.
I didn't watch the Newsroom at all. Did you watch that?
I did not.
So I did not know who he was, but when he mentioned that he was in Spring Awakening, that he played Moritz, and I'm really? Because I never saw it, but I listened to the soundtrack and I saw it on the Tonys and stuff like that, and I looked it up, and yep, sure enough, that's
there
him.
He is.
Another part involving lots of hair, but standing
yes,
up in that case, and all shaggy in this one. But
yeah, he had quite a mop going on there. But yeah, that was a nice interview.
Yeah.
And he was like 17 at the time. Obviously, he was playing a teenager, but
right.
And he wasn't all that familiar with the show even.
Yes.
He definitely was like, yeah, I started watching it later. After he was on it, he realized, like, I should probably watch this.
It's like they had to he couldn't drive stick shift, so they had to go find a Jeep that he could drive, and
right.
He felt bad. That was very cute. That was a lot of very cute details from somebody. Usually we hear from people who are much more established actors, and
right.
He is, of course, now, but at the time,
right, at the
remembering
time, no.
just being this kid
yeah.
who came in and did this part, and drove across country with his mother to do this part.
Yeah. That was very sweet.
That was fun. This was a fun episode. I had forgotten. I actually sort of wish we would watch the two of them together, the two parts. I guess they said something about they aired originally on the same night.
Yeah, they must have had like a back-to-back special.
Yeah, they really are sort of a piece. And so I'm watching this and missing stuff that I know is coming up.
Right.
That's in the next one, I guess. In fact, I asked when I was going to watch it today, I accidentally started watching the second one, and then I'm like, wait a minute, this shouldn't be happening yet. I'm watching the wrong one. It looked the same. They were in a Jeep.
Right. Still with the Jeep. Yeah.
Yes. But it has I think the second half is a little richer. This one is a little more comic relief. But
yeah, I'm not sure I would agree with Josh and Rishi that like this is the funniest West Wing ever.
No, not the funniest, but funny.
Yeah, funny for sure.
The meetings of Bartlett with the two unimpressed secretaries.
Yeah. Did you know they have an operating room on this airplane? Whatever.
She is not impressed.
Yep.
Yeah. We know where this is going, but that was amusing. And I liked the bit of... we've talked about last week when we watched Playing by Heart about the old technology. So I was amused in this one that we have... Remember when you could call somebody's answering machine and yell for them and they would then pick up the phone?
Right.
Or in this case, yell to wake somebody up.
Right.
But, that was a thing, children, that used to be able to happen before you left voicemail on people's phones and they didn't hear it till they wanted to. You could actually communicate. Come on, pick up the phone. I know you're there.
Pick up.
But I had a moment when he falls out of bed.
Yes.
And Josh has told him he has to go do this thing for the president. And then Rob Lowe, laying on the floor, says, "Get dressed now." And I suddenly flash to stop pooping.
Oh, yes. Oh, that's right.
He does a good determined to make your body do something your body has no interest in doing.
Is not gonna do. That's right.
But I it's an interesting story for him. Now, poor guy, he has to do it on no sleep, but he's kind of thrown into the whole thing of staffing the president. He doesn't know where to stand. He doesn't know what to do.
Right.
I don't know if that was Ed or Larry who helpfully directs him to the right place.
Josh stands over there. Yeah. And the president very helpfully, just rock and roll, Sam. Like,
yeah, that's what you want to hear.
Whatever that means. I will do it.
Low stress day.
That reminds me of one of my old bosses who would just write in the margins of my copy, "Please fix."
Well, that's helpful.
Sure, I'll fix it.
Yes.
That was useful.
Yes, and they mentioned this on the podcast too, but I loved the line where Sam is saying, do we have some sort of short form compendium of like all the world's knowledge? And,
right.
And Ginger says, we just ask Margaret.
Just Margaret. Yes, that's awesome.
Margaret is deep.
Margaret is the best. We love her.
Yes. So that was an enjoyable episode. And poor Toby having to say, I work at the White House every time.
Yeah.
That was a sucker bet.
Right. We knew that was gonna
backfire on somebody.
And he gets the meaningful look from Josh if he doesn't do it.
Yes.
Come on.
Josh.
Yes.
And I love that image the John Gallagher Jr. was saying in his interview of Bradley Whitford had like one of the first iPods. He had never seen an iPod before.
Yeah.
And here Bradley was scrolling through it, speaking of old technology. I remember how cool that would have been to see somebody who had one of those gleaming white iPods.
Yes. I remember the first time I saw an iPad in the wild also.
Oh, yeah.
It was a guy on a train and, everybody was looking at it. I was like, I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to say anything to this stranger about his iPad.
Well, anything else in 20 Hours in America Part 1 that you particularly wanted to talk about?
Well, we didn't say too much about the Amy Adams character.
Yes, she was just there for a short while.
Yeah.
Not much of a part.
She was fun to recognize,
Yes.
To see someone like, look at that.
Back in the day when that would have been the part she got. And the 17-year-old kid got the much more interesting one.
Yeah, the bigger part that lasted longer.
Yes. But an enjoyable setup for the joke where Josh is being a jerk and the guy says,
she's my girlfriend.
Yeah. Yeah, Josh. Don't you have a girlfriend at home? I'm pretty sure. Actually, I guess he was being jerky on Toby's behalf.
Yeah.
But.
Well, unclear if what's up with him and
and phoning the stew girl.
Right.
So. I can't honestly remember how long that lasts, if that's over or if it's coming back. But I will say that, drum roll, we have now 4 more episodes and then the episode on which Josh Malina starts, which is episode 6. Game on. So count down to it. It's a good episode. Good episodes in between, but I'm looking forward to it. Yeah. Anyway, but for next week, we will be watching, unsurprisingly, 20 Hours in America, Part 2. So, which is good. I think it will, I can't say anything about it because it would be spoilers.
Okay.
Other than it's good, which is just the spoiler for pretty much all West Wing episodes. Not all, but most. Many.
Yeah.
It's kind of sweet that CJ is trying to find another big brother for Simon's.
Yes.
The kid Simon was working with. Simon's little brother, I guess. Mm-hmm. So that's a nice little follow through from the end of the season.
Yeah.
Like it's not just, she liked him, he's dead.
That was a thing that happened.
We're moving on. There was that moment where she's standing on the plane just looking,
wistful.
Thoughtful. And I'm like, what is she thinking about, I wonder? And then as soon as she started talking about Anthony, I was, oh yeah, that's right. She just lost a guy she wasn't really her, a guy she really liked. Tragically. So I guess she gets to sit and have a pensive moment on the plane that
on Air Force.
It's not that impressive. So, but so that's for next week. But this week, speaking of Amy Adams, I had in mind that the movie Junebug would be a good challenge, and this seemed the appropriate episode to watch it with, even though Western Weekly podcast screwed us up and put us off a sequence. So we have 2 of mine in a row, and then next week we're going to read a book, which may take me 2 weeks to read. But anyway, so this week we watched the movie Junebug, which was from 2005. And what would you say Junebug is about, Catherine? I was watching and I was saying, I enjoy this, but I'm not sure I can summarize it in a sentence or 2.
Yeah, I mean, it's if you want to take the, draw back and take kind of the overhead view, it's sort of about outsiders and insiders, and it's a story of a family in a small southern town, and the sort of not prodigal, but the son who has gone away returns
and married somebody fabulous.
Married someone who is sort of intimidating to the rest of the family, maybe we should say. And she's not trying to be rude or condescending or arrogant, but that's just how she's sort of instantly perceived, no matter what she says or does.
Yeah.
And it's just sort of the consequences of her arriving and meeting her new husband's family for the first time.
And to some degree meeting him for the first time, too. It's like,
right.
Gee, maybe marrying somebody really quickly, there are things you don't know about them.
Yeah.
Like that they sing hymns really well.
But in general, I thought that his character was sort of pretty thinly drawn. The husband, I mean, he would just be gone for like huge swaths of the movie, and like, where is he right now? Like, shouldn't he be here? So I was.
It was a different kind of movie. He could be like a serial killer, but no.
Yeah, I mean, I felt like I spent a lot of time going like, what happened to that guy?
Yes.
Like, where is he?
He just abandoned her to his family.
Yeah, he really, but like, where was he? What was he?
I don't know. He was
like
downstairs.
Visiting his high school buddies or
laying on the couch, I think.
Yeah, he did take a lot of naps while he was there.
Yeah, there are a lot of unanswered questions, but maybe it was stressful for him being home and he just kind of wanted to lay low.
Yeah.
But
I mean, definitely there was tension between every 2 people you could put together in a room in this thing. So
and everybody reacting to the tension in a different way. Amy Adams' character's way being to just never shut up.
Just keep talking.
It's like I feel like everybody else's script was maybe 100 pages, and her script was like 300 pages. She had like a Sorkin script, and everybody else had a normal.
Right.
Which she did delightfully, though.
Yeah.
She painted a picture of that character. You don't have any doubt who that character is.
No.
She was just, just trying so hard. And I don't know what the deal is with Ben McKenzie's character, but I loved watching him. He just had that was not an easy part to play. I mean, he didn't have much to say, but body language was just Adams screaming.
Husband who's extremely sullen and angry and
hurt sometimes. I mean, those eyes, and he was playing the hell out of that thing, but it was a very quiet performance. And then you see him at work with his friends, and he's like a different person. Yes. So it's like there's some backstory there, man. I don't know what it is. We don't particularly learn what it is, except that his brother is like a billion times smoother than him, and that probably...
Yeah, definitely some resentment and sibling rivalry there. I mean, at the end, their mother says to the Chicago son, there's absolutely nothing wrong with you. Like, you're completely perfect.
Yes.
Like... And she surely would never say that to her other son.
I don't believe so. There's pretty clearly something wrong with him. But possibly that, amongst other things.
Possibly just, feeling like...
Yeah.
Feeling worthless thanks to some parenting choices.
But the dad also was pretty soft-spoken and not outgoing.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
But he also seemed to connect more with the other son, the visiting son.
Mm-hmm.
Both parents did. So, yeah, there's some uncomfortable moments there. I hadn't thought of the outsider angle. That's very good. Write a paper about that. Yeah. But that she's into outsider art, and then all of a sudden she sort of is the outsider art.
Right.
And just does many things wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
Obviously and not. But
right.
Just so uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
But it really, boy, that scene where they're in the church basement and having the potluck, I grew up in Protestant churches, not necessarily that, whatever denomination that is, but that was a really familiar scene. Mm-hmm. I went to a bunch of those, and the friendly pastor who gives the folksy prayers and, the sermons and stuff. That right. I've been there. Mm-hmm. I haven't been there in North Carolina or wherever it was they were, but I've been there in California.
Right.
That was very familiar. And coming back to that after having been someplace much more slick and not where church would not be a part of your life.
Right.
That's a little bit of a culture clash. She just looked like she had walked into the wife. The new visiting wife looked like she had just fallen down the rabbit hole.
Like, whoa, this is real life. People actually do this.
And okay. Suddenly my husband is, acting all religious.
Singing a hymn.
Where did that come from?
Right.
Like everybody's sneaking cigarettes and religion and
right.
What all else.
Yes.
But it was interesting. So, some of the cinematography choices were
yes,
odd.
I was going to say that. Like, let's zero in on the air mattress being inflated. Like, I just had to sit there and wonder, like, okay, what am I supposed to be getting out of this?
I'm sure it means something.
Right. What? It means something, but whoa.
There was...
And, like, the neighbor, there was another scene where the family just left to go to the hospital.
Yes.
For Amy Adams' character to give birth. And they just linger on this random neighbor who came outside to see what was up.
I wrote that down. That same scene. It's like, why are we watching her for like 5 minutes? Yeah. Walking away.
Very interesting.
Very odd. And then I think there were Junebugs in the grass after that, maybe, or something like that.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I do like that line that Amy Adams' character has. It seems like it could be useful in many contexts. God loves you just the way you are, but he loves you too much to let you stay that way.
That's right. Yes, that was a very good
Let's
line.
remember that to share with our children, shall we?
Yep, that was a good one.
Yeah, there were a lot of good lines there in the midst of so much non-talking.
Yeah,
so
much silent resentment.
That's right.
Lots of loneliness. I mean, like people being in the same house but being completely alone. I mean, there was a lot of that.
Lots of lonesome crying.
Yes.
With nobody coming to the aid. Mm-hmm. It's like everybody went home from the hospital apparently and left. I don't know if I can't remember her character's name. Left Amy Adams there in the hospital. Ashley. Yeah.
Well, George stayed.
Yes, for a while, but then he
left also.
He was off.
True.
With his wife and his head wound.
Yeah, I didn't really understand that either. Like, why did he insist that they take off immediately in the next one?
I don't know.
He was an inscrutable character.
Kind of a cipher. Yeah. But good looking.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Handsome fella. Oh, well, so that's a movie you had never heard of that now you've seen.
Yeah.
And it did, Amy Adams got an Academy Award. It was her first Academy Award nomination for it, for supporting actress. But she won. I was looking at her awards, and she was nominated for a whole bunch of different awards for that, and won some critics' awards she won, and she won an award at Sundance. So that was a big movie for her. And, in a movie where most people are just sort of being awkward, she certainly she grabs the camera pretty hard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. She's memorable, that's for sure.
Yeah, a big smile and constant talking and sort of sad, I guess, although I guess we're supposed to feel that, I don't know how we're supposed to feel about that marriage. Are we supposed to hope he steps up, or are we supposed to hope she runs away? Or what?
Well, I mean,
it doesn't seem like it's healthy. I guess at the end he sort of does.
At the end he calls her and he tries to figure out what to say. What does she need to hear from him? And he's tries to give her that. So.
Yeah. And something I don't remember if I got it the first time, but I read a review that reminded me of what that scene was when he's during the shower, when he's downstairs and he's fiddling with VCR. He's trying to tape something. The meerkat. Yeah, I totally missed that. I thought he was going to tape over her meerkats. But no, so that's, he does have some redeeming qualities.
Yeah.
He does still love her. He's just apparently incapable of expressing anything other than the need for a cigarette. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know. It doesn't seem like a healthy situation, but she'll make it work.
That's right. Exactly.
Anyway, well, so next week we will be, theoretically, if I get the book and get it read by then, well, we will talk about all or part of A Visit from the Goon Squad?
Correct.
By Jennifer Egan.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then, as previously mentioned, we will be watching 20 Hours in America Part 2 and also the next episode of Dancing with the Stars. And that is going to be it for our Round 2 today. Please subscribe to our Parenting Roundabout podcast so you won't miss any of our episodes, including our daily speed rounds and weekly group chats. As always, you can find recaps, links, and an opportunity to comment on our website at parentingroundabout.com. Goodbye, Catherine.
Bye, Terri.
Goodbye, everybody.